Good afternoon to all the learners. Today is 28th April. So let's start with the YuktMind's initiative of 10 minutes and newspaper done. We have selected 9 news from today's newspaper. You can have a glance at the headings and you can also download the PDF from our Telegram channel or website. First news. Ties depend on peace on border. In the first high-level military visit from China since the start of the Ladakh standoff in April 2020, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh told his Chinese counterpart General Li Shangfu that violation of existing agreements has eroded the entire basis of bilateral relations, and the development of India-China ties is premised on the prevalence of peace and tranquility at the borders. Since we are talking about China, what does China call Arunachal Pradesh or South Tibet in their own language? You can write this in the comments below. Second news, talking therapy. ASHA workers offer hope in rural Madhya Pradesh. Through a MOU signed by the state government of Madhya Pradesh with non-profit Sangat, Project Empower, now in its third year, has been implemented to train ASHAs to become the first point of contact for people in mental distress. The low-cost psychosocial intervention designed by non-profit Sangat and delivered by women has the potential to change the way mental health is approached in places where no psychiatrist or psychologist goes. You can mention this initiative of Sangat in a topic of NGOs in GS paper 2 as an example, as a new example. Now the difference between auxiliary nurse midwife and ASHA you should know. Auxiliary nurse midwives receives 18 months of training and are paid a government salary, whereas Anganwadi workers or ASHA workers receive around 3 to 4 weeks with additional training time to time. They are considered volunteers and are paid an honorarium of about 2000 to 2500 per month, and other payments depends on their work done time to time. Third news, not by Vande Bharat alone. A separate railway budget was eliminated and it was merged with general budget from 2017 onwards. Investments in the Indian Railway have been increased, both through increased budgetary support from the general exchequer and through institutional borrowings aimed at creating additional rail transport capacity ahead of demand. The annual plan outlay of the Indian Railways, which was 1,09,935 crores in 2016-17 in the last separate railway budget, has ballooned to 2,60,200 crore in the budget for 2023-24, an increase of 137%. The National Railway Plan 2030 NRP envisages raising the rail share in freight traffic vis-a-vis roadways from 27% to 45% by 2050. The raising of the average speed of goods train to 50 km per hour from the present 25 km per hour, and a concurrent reduction in tariff rates for freight by up to 30%. As of now, the rail share of freight carried reduced from 51.5% in 2008-9 to 32.4% in 2018-19 for leads over 300 km. Almost the entire increase in volume of traffic carried by rail over a decade has been in the short lead traffic, and 55% of the increase was through the transport of just one commodity, which is coal. Now let's discuss the punctuality of Indian trains. It is time to aim for international standards in punctuality as well. Like Japanese railways reckon the punctuality of their high-speed trains in seconds. The Indian railways should aim to be at least within 5 minutes of the scheduled time. While published statistics of punctuality usually are above 90%, these figures are arrived at with a dose of adjustment, and only the destination arrival time is considered, irrespective of the fact that a train might have been off schedule en route at all the important intermediate stations. For example, if there is a Rajdhani traveling from New Delhi to Howrah Junction, even if it is reaching Howrah Junction at the correct time, what about the lag that happened in the intermediate stations like Kanpur, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Junction, Dhanbad or Asansol stations? Suggestions: it is high time to move away from the traditional concept of destination punctuality, and it should also reflect the punctuality at selected intermediate stations. The government may consider tabling an annual report on the performance of the railways in Parliament on the lines of the annual economic survey prepared by the Finance Ministry ahead of the general budget. Fourth news, Killer Mafia. On the Sand Mafia in Tamil Nadu and attacks on public servants. The gruesome murder of Lordu Francis, a village administrative officer in Thoothukudi in Tamil Nadu, is a reminder of the lengths to which the Sand Mafia will go to protect its lucrative activities involving illegal quarrying. Now we know the impacts of sand mafia and illegal mining. They are damaging the ecosystem and endangering the flora and fauna around the water bodies. Like recently, news about National Chambal Sanctuary, famous for its gharials, is also under threat because of illegal mining. Fifth news. Should India consider phasing out nuclear power? We have discussed nuclear laws of India in detail in yesterday's analysis. Now, background. Germany has shut down the last of its nuclear power plants. France, the nuclear powerhouse of the world, is struggling to replenish its stock of aging reactors. With solar and wind power becoming more popular globally, there are questions on whether nuclear power, with its attendant concerns on cost and safety, remains a relevant option for a future, which is fossil free, especially for India. Now, the global scenario. Nuclear power is seeing a renaissance even in Europe and the USA. China has, anyways, been surging ahead on nuclear power. South Korea's new president has changed the energy policy and committed to increasing the share of nuclear power in the country's energy mix to 30% by 2030. Japan, which should have completely shut down reactors after the Fukushima accident, is restarting them. 10 have been restarted. Japan had to do it because it was otherwise dependent either on expensive imported coal or natural gas. The UK has said that without scaling up nuclear power, it won't be possible to decarbonize the electricity sector. Now, there are several concerns about nuclear power like safety, nuclear proliferation, etc. Some of them have been addressed while others remain. Older designs required active cooling pumps, but you can now have systems which, even if the power fails, will gradually and gracefully control temperature, waste, heat, and things like that. It happened in Chernobyl. With new designs, it won't be repeated again. Another challenge is cost, where nuclear power has to prove itself. Now, the benefits of nuclear power. It is low carbon, even when you look at life cycle costs. Experts are saying that nuclear power would be good to have in the mix because it is firm, dispatchable power. What is firm power? It is power that can be sent to the electric grid to be supplied whenever needed. Wind power and solar power are variable, such as there can be days of no wind spells. Another alternative, that is batteries, are very expensive and have an environmental impact. India has very limited growth potential for hydropower because of conserving biodiversity and the costs of rehabilitating and compensating landowners and seismological factors in the Himalaya. The alternative to coal is nuclear power. We have got nearly 210 gigawatts of coal capacity and it produces 73% of electricity, whereas nuclear is only around 3.2%. We can compare the examples of nuclear power plant and thermal power plant using coal. A plant like Kundankulam, for operating one of these units, 1000 megawatts at 90% plant load factor, require over a year is only 25 tons of low enriched uranium. Whereas a coal plant of similar capacity, you'll require approximately 5 million tons of coal, which produces ash and is harmful for the environment. Way forward, the policy should be about enabling frameworks to let all technologies play and develop their own course of action so as to see which technology becomes the best alternative for green power. Sixth news, the threat of rising sea levels. According to a new research, global sea levels could rise by more than 2 meters by the end of the century, resulting in the displacement of almost 200 million people if global warming continues at the current rate. The World Meteorological Organization (WMO) has published a new report entitled State of the Global Climate 2022 in April 2023. Observation of the reports are, along with accelerating sea level rise, it focused on a consistent rise in global temperatures, record-breaking increases in the concentration of greenhouse gases as well as glacier loss, sustained drought-like condition in East Africa, record rainfall in Pakistan, unprecedented heat waves that struck Europe and China in 2022. Now, how much is the sea rising? According to the WMO report, the sea level has been rising in the 3 decades, and the data are it was 2.27 millimeter per year in 1993 to 2002. It shot up to 4.62 millimeter per year in 2013 to 2022. That is, rate of global mean sea level has doubled. What causes accelerated sea level rise? The WMO report points to the following: ocean warming, ice loss from glaciers and ice sheets, and changes in land water storage. According to the report of 2005 to 2019, loss of glacier and ice sheets contributed 36% to the global mean sea level rise. Ocean warming contributed 55%, that is the largest, and the changes in the storage of land water bodies contributed less than 10%. As increasing concentration of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases drive global warming, 90% of the extra heat is stored in the oceans. Now, this is called ocean warming. And as ocean heats up, it undergoes thermal expansion, which in turn leads to a rise in the global mean sea level. One measure of ocean warming is the ocean heat content. What problems will sea level rise cause? One is the accelerated pace will cause changes in the land cover. So, the people on the coastal communities will face an acute shortage of land for human use, and this will lead to an increase in social disparities between people living in coastal areas. Second, there will be increase in the frequency of weather formation like cyclones, and it will have huge economic impact on countries like India and South Africa, which face frequent cyclones. Third is that as the global sea mean level continues to rise, more seawater could seep into the ground, leading to the groundwater contamination, which is usually fresh water, turning more and more saline. This can exacerbate the water crisis. Fourth is social problems of rehabilitation of displaced coastal communities, triggered migration, and resultant social and economic problems. Seventh news, five entities banned from trading after manipulation. This can be used as an example. The SEBI on Thursday barred five entities, including an employee of LIC, from the securities market and impounded illegal gains of 2.44 crore made by them in a case pertaining to front running the trades of the state owned insurer. News 8. Soon Indian Army to raise cyber operations and support wings. Several major decisions were taken at the Army Commanders Conference. They have decided to operationalize command cyber operations and support wings in the immediate future with current focus on net-centric operations. The other decisions are convert the 5-year technical entry scheme for entry of officers to 4 years from January 2024. Train motivated soldiers for Paralympic events and double the sustenance allowance to specially abled children of personnel killed in the line of duty through the Army General Insurance Fund. The 5-year technical entry scheme model currently for officers' entry as BTech graduates has been in place since 1999. It is now decided to have a 4-year model with 3 years devoted to technical training at cadet training wings, followed by 1 year of basic military training at IMA Dehradun. Ninth news, the Masa rebel group signs peace pact with Centre and Assam government. An Assam-based insurgent group, the Masa National Liberation Army, the Masa People's Supreme Council, which operates in Dima Hasao district, signed a peace agreement with the state government at the centre. As per Ministry of Home Affairs, the agreement will put a complete end to insurgency and there are no more armed groups in Assam today. Thank you for watching. Keep visiting our website, Telegram channel, Instagram and Twitter handles for more information.